Welcome back, boys and girls. This is the NAO show. We got Tank Top Mike wearing the tank top as always. We got Marky Mark bringing his father time experience to the rookie draft. We're gonna break down the very first round of 2022 NAO rookie draft for our lovely listeners. Not you, Evan. We're not talking about you, but we are gonna go into the weeds on each pick, each trade of the very first round, and then we're going to tell you who won, who didn't, and why I didn't have first round pick. Marky Mark, hello.
Calling me Father Time aligns you with somebody else in this league that we don't usually talk about too much.
We don't speak of that other guy.
Congratulations for your newfound relationship. I'm happy for you.
Moving on.
Really happy for you. Yeah, we're going to talk. We got one pre-draft trade that was pretty important. We'll go through the whole first round and we'll talk about two trades that happened that involved picks in the first round. So let's get right to it.
Well, we gotta say hello to Tank Top Mike.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Go on around saying hi to him.
I have to say first round picks, schmirst round picks. That's what I always say.
Oh, all right.
I haven't had a first round pick in any of our rookie drafts. So
Where'd you end up last year?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point.
Who said it? Somebody on the Rams. Fuck them picks.
I was going to say whose fault is that, but you did get to the championship, so
nailed it.
Championship. All right, let's go, Marky Mark. We got the first pick in the NAO 2022 draft.
All right, we're gonna run down that trade real quick first. We had a trade before the draft happened, a couple of days before the draft happened. It involved several of the first round picks. So we had FNG receiving pick 2 and pick 9, and Goofy Jace got pick 5, pick 8, and a 2023 second rounder. My thing with Goofy here is he didn't make a trade for like the first year and a half in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes out here and he kind of jockeys around those picks, and he gets an extra second rounder out of it next year. So he goes from freaking not trading to kind of a bit of a savant here. What do you guys think about that one, man? I liked it. I liked it for Goofy.
Yeah, I thought Goofy did. If you're going to trade pick 2, I think this is what he should be doing. It's fantastic.
Well, I mean, if I was Goofy, I was going to pick 1 and 2. I was going to go running back, wide receiver. And with how deep these wide receivers are in this draft, why not move back? You know what I mean? I thought it was a great pick for both of them. FNG got 3 picks in a row, 2, 3, and 4. If you were to go and get 2, 3, and 4 individually, how much would you have to spend to get those picks? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He got 3 guys that he can throw into his lineup right now, and we're not even to pick 5 where Goofy Jace got his wide receiver. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a clear winner because they both won. They both were like, all right, we both can like really benefit from a trade like this. You get an extra pick, I get the picks in succession, and you still get your wide receiver that you're going to be looking at anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense for both of them, and I think it was a pretty even trade, but I like the fact that Goofy just kind of flip-flopped the position, but still got a 2023 second rounder out of it. So that was nice.
A little bit behind the curtain. As soon as that trade went down, I DM'd Goofy, and I was like, man, that's a great trade. Great trade. That is like really smart moving of your assets. You moved one guy, moved it into 2 dudes, and got another pick. That's great.
So that's how we started off.
I thought he did it mostly because he only needed 1 quarterback, but he went with this Breece Hall guy, whoever that is. I don't even know who that is. Whatever.
league if he had taken like Pickett 101.
He keeps on wishing it to be a 2-quarterback league, so maybe that would have been his way of trying to speak it into existence, as it were.
Oh Lord. So how do we feel about Mr. Hall in New York?
Are we going in the draft now, or?
Oh, I guess that's what we were doing.
I mean,
all right. Maybe I'll let you drive this thing.
Give me that damn steering wheel. All right. Let's go over the draft here. So, the aforementioned Mr. Hall, he went to Goofy J's at pick 1. Breece Hall, running back, New York Jets. Give us your thoughts, guys.
I think the Jets, I mean, you kind of have to go the whole draft on some of these picks. And I think the Jets had, a stellar draft just in general. And, it started, fantasy-wise, Breece Hall is obviously the guy you want there. But, they're no longer, well, hopefully, they're not really looking like the same old Jets anymore. Or like, even in Cleveland when they were like 0-16, you can still start some guys in fantasy. But it feels like for the last few years, you couldn't even start a Jet. Except for like, Corey Davis, last year or whatever. But like, it was just a team you avoided, and now they're looking pretty good. And case in point, Breece Hall was the pretty much consensus 101 across all fantasy leagues. So it was an easy pick.
I don't know if a GM can really submit his job after one draft, but the GM for the New York Jets really put a feather in his cap, and he was walking around like big guy on campus, I bet, the next day. That guy came back with a whole lot of weapons, and it's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This drafting thing is real easy.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I love Hall in New York, and I think that makes Michael Carter a Naheem Hines now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but Hall there is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, Carter never really profiled as a workhorse back, a number one guy. He shared time with Javonte at North Carolina, and that's his best role, I think, in an NFL as well. And so I think he finished well down the stretch last year, Michael Carter did, but I think now with Breece Hall in there, I think the roles are going to be pretty well defined. I could see easily 60-40 for Breece Hall, maybe even 70-30, because Hall can catch passes too. So Michael Carter is a good receiving back. He doesn't block well. He's not a good pass pro guy. So Hall's going to be on the field a little bit more, I think, because he does pretty much everything well. So it was a no-brainer, Mike. You're right. That pick right there. Anybody passing on Breece Hall, I think even in Superflex this year with a light quarterback class, anybody passing on Breece Hall is overthinking it. I really do.
And he's only 20. Like, you talk about running back ages at 27. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly, their other usage data points line up at 27 more so than the age. But, coming in at 20, I mean, we're going to talk about some other running backs in this draft that went in the first that are 3 years older. I mean,
yeah,
kid can't even drink, can't even celebrate that he got drafted by the Jets.
Not legally
He'd be
anyway.
the first person to celebrate that he got drafted by the Jets.
All right, well, let's move on to the second pick in the draft. That was FNG. As we talked about, he traded up to get that number 2, and he picked Kenneth Walker, running back for the Seattle Seahawks.
I just want to go on the record and say that FNG, being part of the winning Pro Bowl team, raise your hand if you won the Pro Bowl last year. He made some fantastic draft picks for the Pro Bowl team coming up this year. And Kenneth Walker and his next 2 picks. Loved him. Great job, FNG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, obviously he has those 3 picks in a row, so you knew a running back was going. And, really it was these two running backs. So this was another kind of easy slam dunk pick. Do you have any concern about Pete Carroll and running backs though? Pete Carroll and his draft capital running backs are a little dicey.
Well, I listened to a podcast today that went on a very, very good tangent about the lack of one running back in that committee. It was going to be a committee by committee. So
I'd be interested in hearing about this podcast.
What's that?
I would be interested in hearing this podcast.
Well, I can give you a little sneak peek there. It's basically that Carroll is loyal to his older players. And between me and the other guy that we're doing the podcast, we agreed that Carroll wants to be right, or the organization wants to be right, that they picked Rashad Penny first several years ago. And, of course, Walker fits in really well with what they like to do there. But, yeah, I think it'll be a committee. I think Penny finished strong last year. He'll be, he'll be the guy that has the job by default. Walker's certainly going to get in there and get his reps. I'm a little concerned about if they don't get a quarterback in there, then they're going to be running against stacked boxes all the time. So it's just a lot up in the air right now. I hope they get a quarterback, whether it's getting Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield in there. They got to get an upgrade over Locke. They got to get somebody better than Geno Smith. Then that running game has a little bit more credibility. So, but I do think it's going to be a committee, and I think Carson might be done. A lot of people are talking about that. So Walker definitely is going to get his chance, but maybe not the workhorse load that we thought. So
I don't like this negative speak against Geno Smith. If you would just leave him be and not have freaking medical personnel stab him in the chest with a freaking giant freaking needle, the guy will be fine.
that was Tyrod. You're mixing him up with Tyrod or Tyrod Taylor.
Oh shit, I am. Moving on.
It's a shame we can't edit that out. I wonder if anybody might say something about that in chat after they listen to
this. Do you want to start over?
Now we got to start over, damn it. Thanks a lot, Sean. Get your damn quarterback straight.
That made me laugh real good. All right.
Moving on. We're going to go to pick 3. We're going to go to pick 3 here in the draft. That was FNG again. We said he had 2, 3, 4. At number 3, he picked Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Tennessee. Talk it up, guys.
This was totally a homer pick. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it definitely was.
The guy's a Tennessee fan. Of course, he was going to take Burks after he got.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I guess you're clearly taking 2 wide receivers here, with picks 3 and 4, and I think I would have probably taken London at in Williams. That's what would have been my picks, I guess. But so maybe it is a little bit of a homer pick. I think.
London and Williams and not Burks.
Maybe, but I think the draft day trade, losing Antonio or AJ Brown, that left a pretty big vacuum there, and everybody comped Burks to AJ Brown exactly. So trade him and sign him. So is it a homer pick? Maybe. I don't think you can really go wrong with like the next 4 wide receivers off the board, to be honest with you. So if it was a homer pick, get your guy, have fun. I'm okay with that.
I hate these comps that people make. Like, freaking Tyreek Hill leaves. Oh, they're looking for the next Tyreek Hill. AJ Brown leaves. Oh, Trey Burks is the next AJ Brown. Look at that. This is kind of doing the rookies a disservice and doing the veterans a disservice. I mean, the veterans have worked hard to get to where they are, and to call a rookie comparable to him is kind of a slap in the face. Like, AJ Brown's been here doing it against freaking NFL teams, and this guy hasn't even stepped on an NFL field yet, and you're comparing him. But that's just my soapbox about comps.
Sean doesn't like comps. Okay. Note that down. Well, Mike, I agree with you. I think I had Burks behind a lot of these guys too. I think
As long as you don't take them 101, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I heard about this secret draft where somebody took him first overall. Oh, the heck was that guy?
that's an egregious error right there. I would never take him number 1 overall. Again, I said if you don't pick Breece Hall there, you're overthinking it. So somebody obviously overthought it. But yeah, Burks to me, I had him further down the list. Kind of more at the end of these top guys was the way I looked at him, and a lot of it is just because it was just kind of he was a gadget kind of guy, and I don't know, he might be if he's gonna step in and be the comp, like you said, Sean, to AJ Brown. He didn't do AJ Brown kind of things at Arkansas. He did kind of gadget things at Arkansas. So I don't know. That's it. He's got a bit of a learning curve, and I definitely was not going to pick him this high. I would have had him further down. I think FNG having 3 picks in a row, like you said, Mike, he went for his guy. He went for the homer, and it may work out for him. He may go out there and smash it, but I'm a little bit skeptical, and I would have had a lot of other guys ahead of him before I would have been picking Burks probably more end of the first round, beginning of the second round. Certainly not overall.
My question is AJ Brown leaving and Burks being acquired hurt or benefit Derrick Henry?
I don't think anything hurts him except his own foot.
Say that again.
Nothing hurts Henry except his own foot.
Yeah.
I mean, Henry's been going up against stacked boxes so much, I don't think that he's almost too good when he's his normal self. But
yeah. I don't think it has any effect. I think Henry's Henry, and they want to run the ball, and as long as he can run it, they're going to run it. So, I don't think one has to do much with the other. To tell you the truth, really don't.
Okay.
That's just me, though. That's just me. All right, let's move on to pick number 4. FNG again with pick number 4 gets Drake London, wide receiver, Atlanta.
I think Atlanta is that guy at the bar that has a type and won't talk to any girl that is not their type. And London and Pitts are like the same exact person that plays different positions. Big body receiver. And Atlanta just goes, ooh, I want that guy. That's what I think they did in the draft room, literally.
This is a tough. That would have been a tough pick for me. I feel like you take him there at 4, but like Marcus Mariota, you know what I mean? Like this is
barely say that.
This is clearly, I wouldn't be relying on him too much this year. I feel like Mariota's. His days are numbered with the 2023 quarterback class coming in. But, not every pick is going to be a slam dunk year 1. So you just want to hope he develops well. But it it was a tough pick. I think it's the right pick there, though.
Yeah, FNG's definitely got to take him right there.
Rebuilds don't happen immediately, so.
Right. No hate towards the pick. I would have done the exact same thing. Shoot, I might have even done it at pick 3, like you were saying, Mike. But yeah, you got to take him, regardless of Mariota. His time is on the clock, as they say.
I think they did Mariota and themselves a favor by bringing in London because he's not the most accurate guy. He's not known as that. He hasn't played for a while, so we'll have to see what he's learned carrying a clipboard. But he's never been the most accurate guy. So when you throw in guys like Pitts and Drake London, covers up a lot of deficiencies there. So I think it was a good pick for them, and a guy that moving forward, if it's not Mariota, which it probably won't be, maybe it's Desmond Ridder, maybe not, maybe it's somebody from next year. But man, if they bring a good, accurate quarterback in there, just imagine what he can do with those two guys. So, but I like the pick. I have London higher than Burks. I think I might have taken London right there at number 2 if it was me, and I like the pick getting him at number 4. Of course, he had 3 of them in a row, so he could have kind of juggled them, and he might have been drawing them out of a hat. Maybe he had the 3 picks in a hat, and he was just drawing them out.
If F&G should have just done Burks, London, and then just waited like 30 minutes for pick 4.
Yeah.
And just do Walker.
to give the guy Goofy was the one at 5, but yeah, just to give guys heart attacks, thinking, oh my God, Walker fall.
Could you imagine the offers he would have been getting? Pick 4 to pick up Walker.
The fun part about that is if that happens, right? You said Goofy had pick 1, took Breece Hall, doesn't need Walker. So then the next pick is the DBs, and they would have been sweating that.
Dude, I'll give you anything you want.
I'll give you the house, the kid.
I'll come do your laundry. Oh, man.
I'll pay your league fees for the next 3 years.
Yeah. As commissioner, I don't condone that kind of thing.
After he laughed about it.
I certainly understand it. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the next pick. We have Goofy Jace, who traded down, as we talked about before. Number 5, he picked Jameson Williams, wide receiver, Detroit.
I like the pick. I mean, I think we're all in the same boat when we say he's probably going to be a wait and see kind of guy. But if he didn't get hurt and he was coming out without the injury, he probably would have been like wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 right off the bat without even really trying. Like Mike said, slam dunk kind of pick. So if he comes back and he's fine by halfway through the first year, that's still freaking well worth the 5th overall pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think not only did him going to Detroit, that kind of makes sense. I mean, it's not like he was going somewhere where they needed win immediately, so they need him on the field. I mean, Detroit's going to be much better than they were last year, but I don't think anybody thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl. So it's not like they need the guy immediately, so they can take the time he needs to to heal up and actually get clearance. And then in fantasy-wise, Goofy's kind of the same way. I mean, he was in the bottom 4, sure, but he had some bad luck. I think his team doesn't necessarily need Williams in the starting lineup to do well either. So a nice real-life fantasy pairing where they can both sit. And I think eventually they both start him, and they both do well with him. So I like that. I think first round, that could have been one of my favorite picks, him at 5 for Goofy.
And I think it only goes that way because 2 people were drafted, If 5 people were drafting, I'm not sure if he makes it to 5.
Yeah, if he was say Goofy, was looking at him as his number 1, which a lot of people were, Sean, you're right that there's a lot of folks where if it wasn't for the injury, might have had him up there higher. If he's looking at him as, hey, he's my favorite guy, but I know he's got the injury, I can get him later, it makes that trade even better for him to think that, I traded down, I got an extra second rounder for next year, and I still got the guy I really like. I don't know if that's the case, but I can see that scenario playing out. And, Williams is certainly a guy I was looking at, thinking that he would drop because of the injury, and I'd snatch him right up in that later first round if he was still there.
Big Primo. We got a bunch of people that know what the heck they're doing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it looks that way, man. We got guys that know what they're doing. We can't just take advantage of it. There's leagues like that.
There are leagues where crazy trades happen.
Take advantage of these.
More, 5th overall, I don't know.
Great pick there, though, and I think Williams is going to be fine there. He seems a little bit upset maybe that he got drafted there.
Yeah.
He's been pouting a whole lot. I hope he gets over that and goes out there and just plays some freaking football, So we'll have to see how that goes.
That was like on Christmas, and it's the year that the 64 came out, and he got a Super Nintendo. You know what I mean? He's just like, come on, take your picture with your big gift.
I'm supposed to be thankful, but I'm not, damn it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, he'll probably start off on the PUP list. Maybe not. I think he's trying to get back in there, but I think it would be stupid to trade up to pick number 12 and then put him out there before he's ready to go. So I think he probably starts out on the PUP, but he's one of those guys that could be a league winner down the stretch. So I know Goofy's going to be just like waiting for that day that he can flex him in there, shore up the flex TM, and start smashing it with his number 5 pick there. So I like it. I like what Goofy did a lot there. So. All right, let's move on to the next pick. So at number 6, we had somebody else besides Goofy or FNG picking. Thank God.
It isn't so.
It's a
It was
two-team
getting
league.
boring. So we had the underdogs at number 6 going with Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, New York Jets.
Yeah, this is a good pick by them. I mean, who the heck else is going to get the ball now? He literally walks on the field and maybe Elijah Moore, maybe? No.
Maybe.
No.
Has he forgotten how to play football?
Well, Garrett Wilson just got drafted, so therefore he's the big dog on campus.
Yeah, we'll talk about Garrett.
Just getting his jockstrap clean for him.
Yeah, we'll talk about Garrett. We won't talk about my my guys and what it might mean for him. We'll talk about Garrett Wilson. So
Yeah, I think I mentioned the Jets did well, and here's another example of it. You got two fantasy relevant, different skill players in the first round of fantasy drafts, and it's just unfortunate that the DBs managed to get him, I guess at this point. But if anybody's going to underperform that gets drafted in the first, maybe it's Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, you definitely got to add the DB underperformance value to it. If he was gonna get 1,000 yards here as a rookie at any other team, he's probably only gonna get like 700 on the DBs. So that's a real thing. That's happened 2 years in a row. So
well, it's really interesting because I've heard more than one fantasy analyst say that Garrett Wilson was the safest pick of the draft of all the wide receivers. You can go down through and you can say he could be a boom because of this, or he could be a bust because of this. But Garrett Wilson was that one guy that everybody's like, yeah, he should be okay. He's a safe pick. So how fitting is it that the underdogs are the one that took that safe pick? But I think it's a good pick, and yeah, him being there at 6, he's another one. I mean, it's kind of like choose your favorite flavor, because a lot of these guys in the first 5, 6, 7 receivers could have been the number 1 guy off the board. So it was kind of pick who you like. So Wilson could have easily been the first receiver off the board. To get him there at number 6, I think is a great value pick. It is a safe pick. He has a lot of good skills. He's a motion receiver. You can move him all through the formation. You can put him in motion. You can do a lot of things with this guy. He's going to create headaches for defenses. He's going to be good. I think he's going to be something that helps Zach Wilson make that step forward.
how much of a step forward are we talking there, Marquis Brown?
For Zach?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's got to stay healthy.
How much is it adding a wide receiver of Wilson's caliber going to help Zach moving into the next year?
I just think that, like I said, the fact that you can create mismatches, move them around, You still got Moore taking the top off. He's a good outside. We talked about this last night in the podcast I did with Evan that I think he had Moore a little more pigeonholed at slot receiver, but Moore is a really good outside receiver, and he's a guy that can take the top off of defense. Wilson's going to be that guy that is going to be. If he's not the first receiver in the route tree, he's the guy that's probably going to be open in the progressions. So I really like the fact that they brought him in there because he's going to help Wilson a lot. He's going to help his steps forward in the league. I really think he will. So.
Well, something we talked about last week on the show is the New York Jets being able to draft the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman. That will help Zach Wilson get through those progressions and let a wide receiver like Garrett Wilson make his move, or Elijah Moore to take the top off, as you said. And it looks good for the New York Jets. I'm just going to say that.
And don't forget about Joe Flacco. He doesn't do anything. But don't forget about him.
You know what? I had
meant for it all. Just like another guy in Tennessee.
I actually had forgotten about Joe Flacco, so thank you for that. 'Cause absolutely had forgotten about Joe Flacco. Oh my goodness!
Like, wait, Joe Flacco's still in the league?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he must be on a really crappy team as a backup. Oh yeah, the Jets. That makes sense. Yeah.
So tomorrow when you release this, Mike, you gotta call it Joe Flacco and other great Jets. something along those lines. All right. Well, let's go on to the next pick at number 7.
This is a spicy pick in the first round. Let me tell you.
This one is. I have to admit, this one is. So, at pick number 7, the underdogs take Rachaad White, running back, Tampa Bay.
All right. As the sole Tampa Bay fan in the NAO, I love this draft pick because we got Lenny, we got playoff Lenny, we got Super Bowl Lenny, now we got Rachaad White. He's going to be the heir to Lenny's Super Bowl and playoff airness, But at 7 in the first round of a dynasty, yikes. Maybe there's something I don't know. Like, I mean, I like him. I automatically like him. He's the Tampa Bay Buccaneer. At 7, though? 7?
I guess in my mind, again, you have 3 picks. So your options are, which one is a running back. I feel like at this point in the draft, only one is going to be a running back if you take any. So then your options are really White or James Cook. At that point, the drop-off is pretty severe. And
whoa!
Yeah, from running
Let's
backs,
not throw that out there.
From running backs, the drop-off is already here. This running back draft is not going to be, we'll come back next year and we'll talk about the cliff dropping in the end of the second. But, after this, who are you taking? Who are you taking in the first after this is my point.
Wait,
so the drop-off is fairly
severe.
We're in agreement that the drop-off is very severe. Thank you. After those 2. So who do you take? I think actually White, if you're going to take a running back, you're at that point is the one to go with. The only thing you have to worry about is if he misses one pass protection in practice and Brady gets hit or anything like that. But the guy can catch well, and pass catching running backs, especially on the Bucs, do very well. It's just a matter of him actually being able to get Brady's trust, like we talked about in the pre-show. But if you're going to take a running back at this point and not go 3 wide receivers, those are your only 2 options. And I completely agree that White is the one to go with there. I said I wouldn't hype him up, and I accidentally did. So, fuck.
I think it was a luxury pick, as Marky Mark would say. You got 3 picks. You could reach on a guy. You're gonna hit on the other 2 because you're gonna draft them where draft. I think this was a reach. I think they drafted him at 7 because it was 7. You know, they could have waited and drafted him at 8, but they didn't. They said, no, he's 7. I just wanted to be a fly on the wall where the owners of the DBs are sitting there trying to convince the other person that Rachaad White is the person that they want to draft at 7. It would have been hilarious to see, because I know Evan was the one that really wanted him, and Brandon probably didn't really want him. So there's a lot of, hey man, he's gonna be so good, dude. He's gonna get that one block in practice. Tom Brady's gonna fall in love with him. He's White 15 years ago when he was real good. Yeah, he's the next James White.
Maybe we'll get some insight on that. But do we need to start over? Mike, you said you weren't going to give him any praise. You gave him some praise. We're kind of far in, but we can start over if you want to, man. We can take 2, maybe.
Well, we're on take 3 now.
Yeah, now we're on take 3. Oh, my goodness. Well, I think Rachaad White is going to be a good NFL running back. He did not get the best landing spot. We did talk about in pre-show that he's got to gain Brady's trust. I think that Vaughn will still be the number 2 behind Fournette. But we'll give Rachaad White a chance. Maybe he can surpass Vaughn. People aren't – I don't know that they're real crazy about Vaughn, but he had some good games down the stretch last year. For him to do that means that he had Brady's trust. So to me, that's the whole thing is Rachaad White's got to get his trust. Now I had Rachaad White as number 3 pre-draft, but the fact that he went to Tampa Bay in a committee, I had to put him at number 4. So I don't think it's a bad pick. I do think it's a luxury pick, like you said, Sean, because they had multiple picks. So they picked the guy that they like the best. So I respect that. And it might be a percolate on the bench for a little while, and then maybe within the next year or 2 becomes the guy there. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think it's a terrible pick, but I do think it was somebody they could have got later, maybe should have been going for later. Looks like they went and got their guy to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, before we get to pick number 8, we have a trade. I got to find it on my list. There it is, between Goofy Jace and the Underdogs. So pick 8 went to the Underdogs, along with a 2023 4th rounder.
Gotta have that 4th.
Yeah, I got to have a 4th, man. Yeah, you can hear Brandon, right? Throw in a future 4th in me. Got a deal.
Got a deal.
What do I got to do to put you in a car today? He missed his calling, man. I mean, he was the cheerleader, and he's got the gym. That's great, but he really could have been a used car salesman for sure. For sure. All right, so in return, Goofy Jace got Russell Gage, pick 16, and a 2024 2nd rounder. So let's talk about the trade before we go into the pick. I like what Goofy Jace did, again, getting a future 2nd rounder. He traded back. He got pick 16. Russell Gage is a guy that, with Godwin and his knee injury, Russell Gage might be out there on the field doing some stuff early on. So you look at Goofy, he got Russell Gage for the early run. He's got Jameson Williams for the late run. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give him too much credit for being that smart, but it looks pretty good on paper here,
Golly, we got to give Goofy some credit. Last year, he's out there not making any trade. You couldn't make that bolder move if you were freaking Hercules yourself. Yeah. And this guy's out here taking notes all first 2 seasons, comes out year 3, and he's just making moves like a freaking badass.
Yeah, man. Moves upon moves. So Underdogs got up to pick 8. On paper, by the numbers, looks like Underdogs won this trade by a little bit. But I kind of call it even because I think Goofy got, being that he had extra 1st rounders, I think he got good value out of trading that one away. Underdogs moved up we'll talk about their pick in a minute. What do you guys think about the trade?
I think it's a good trade for his team, like Goofy's team, just like exactly what you're thinking. I think if Gage comes out and is the new comp to Antonio Brown, and he gets those looks, Gage is going to be a freaking real nice guy to have there until Williams comes out and starts slamming in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I like it for Goofy. I feel like he went into the first round with all those picks and thought he had a list of guys, and if they were gone, he's going to trade out. And he got Breece, he got Williams, and then that was good enough for him. He retooled for 2023. Why not? If you felt good about it, kick the can a little bit. And I like it for the underdogs. They had 3 nice picks. They could do whatever they wanted with those picks, and I feel like they got what they wanted out of it too. So, a nice.
You're not supposed to give them props.
That was a good one. I feel like Goofy orchestrated all of it, and Evan couldn't figure out what way was up on his phone. Accidentally hit accept. There's no way that they did that. It was all Goofy. Goofy's like, listen here, this is how you do it. Just hit accept.
Hit a big button.
Take 4. Oh man, gosh, stay on script. But stay on script. I think it'll be all right as long as they don't stick Geno Smith in the chest with a shot and puncture his lung. I think everything will be fine. So
I'm never gonna live that one down.
Take 5. All right. Well, at pick number 8, the underdogs selected Chris Olave, wide receiver, New Orleans. So let's talk about the pick that they traded up for.
Michael Thomas is dead. Chris Olave is going to get 900 targets. Done.
And you're not just saying that because you have shares of them in the league, right? It's your.
No, I'm saying that because I'm a Bucs fan and Michael Thomas has burnt me enough, so I'm ready for him to be running out of the league.
I mean, I think that is probably part of it. I mean, they were trying to fill that roster hole, that is Michael Thomas, that they've had now for almost 2 full seasons, and they did it. Here you go. But at some point, Michael Thomas could come back. He seems like there's some hurdles, but there's a lot of time left. So then what do? You know what I mean? Who do you start there? Do they have the luxury of not starting either of them? With their luck, probably not. They got to pick one, and they'll pick wrong. So that felt better.
Yeah. So as the Traquan Smith owner, how do you feel about Olave being drafted there?
I mean, I've never really liked Traquan Smith, so go ahead. The guy, he blew his chance with Winston last season. I mean, he's a fine guy. If I'm starting Traquan Smith, you guys have all my other good players because I'm rebuilding. So
you heard it here first, people. On the NAO show, you can acquire a lightly used Traquan Smith from the Tank Top Mike's
That's
team.
probably true. He had his shot. I thought he could fit better with Winston. If I'm trying to be positive, maybe a good offseason, but, probably not. We all have that guy on our roster, so.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, I think Traquan, his time is come and gone. Callaway maybe can still be relevant there. We'll see. He's probably kind of on a short leash himself as far as being able to be fantasy relevant. But if
Jones-Drew are like this, in my opinion. They are the same person on a different team. Like, they have the same exact.
If we got to go take 6, man, we're gonna stop right here. Who did you say?
Moving on.
Moving on. If I'm hearing right, I heard a running back that hasn't been in the league in about 7-8 years.
Donovan Peoples-Jones-Drew.
All right. Well, let's try to get this train back on the track. So,
that was my favorite one.
If you want to fix Chris, if you want to fix Jameis Winston, you bring in a guy like Chris Olave. He's the best route runner in this class, pretty much consensus. Best route runner. Gets good separation. So if you want to keep Jameis from throwing up 50-50 balls, you get a guy who can separate, who runs good routes. So Olave could be the guy who finally fixes Jameis Winston. So
This ain't live, right? This isn't live, right?
Not live.
Oh, wait, it's got it. Oh,
So
got him.
Actually, my brother-in-law did ask me about Olave if he should draft him, and I said about the same. He was a good. You talk about Wilson being a safe pick, but I think Olave, the wild card is Jameis Winston. But as a player, he's a pretty good safe pick too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Mark and I share co-manage a team, and we got him in what 201, Marky Mark.
pick 11. Pick 11.
We jumped on that train about as fast as we could.
That was a nice moment because we had 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers that we liked, and we went with the running back because both those wide receivers were still there, and we're like, we're going to get one of them. And Olave fell to us, and we just loved it. I think both of the receivers fell to us too, didn't they?
No, we could have picked between them.
We had our choice, man. We had our choice, but yeah, we went with.
That's how
Yeah.
much we like him.
That's how much we like Olave. Yeah, Michael Thomas is. It's hard to say what he's going to do. He's basically 2 years removed from playing football.
Mm-hmm.
That means he's 2 years older, and I wouldn't be betting a lot of money on him because I think about Kenny Golladay, who sat out a year and thought he was going to come back and just play. Yeah, take 7. He's going to come back and play the way that he's always played, and you see what he did last year. So I tell you, man, I'm kind of skeptical of what Thomas can do. Now, Thomas has been known as a hardworking guy. If anybody can do it at his age, it's going to be him. But man, Olave was probably a great pick for the underdogs. Having Michael Thomas that they paid a lot for, it's kind of it was a Michael Thomas insurance policy there. So I like the pick for him, I really do. And I like Olave a lot, I really do. All right. Gosh, can we move on and maybe not get to take 8 here because So at pick number 9, FNG back at it again. He was very active in this first round. At pick 9, he took James Cook, running back, Buffalo.
I mean, it was his 4th pick in the first round. I didn't even have 4 picks in the whole draft, let alone round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could have picked a freaking quarterback, Ritter, and I would have been okay with it. I mean, shoot, talk about luxury picks. That was definitely a luxury pick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm totally against Cook in Buffalo. I would have never drafted him right there, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a luxury pick, but with your luxury pick, you go best player available. And is Cook at this point in the draft best player available? I mean, the only argument that I could make is he's picked whatever all these positions. It doesn't matter, I guess, and he wanted a running back there. But I feel like I would have gone BPA there, and I don't think that he is.
I saw that pick go off the board, and I'm like, all right, I get it. His ADP was pretty high, but I don't want anything to do with the Buffalo backfield. Zero, nada. If he runs for 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, good for FNG, but I would have still not drafted him right there.
I think every article or anything anybody talks about with him is along the lines of James Cook, brother of Dalvin Cook. If you take that out of it, are we are we talking about him this much? But
change his last name and see what happens.
But I mean, as a running back going to Buffalo, it's rough right now. I mean, Singletary, really took the role at the end of last year pretty handedly, and there's always Josh Allen in the red zone. Who's their tight end they just got they just signed?
O.J. Howard.
Okay, Howard, yeah.
So, in the red zone, there's so many options. But
Not to mention that Knock, the tight end there from last year, was a huge target in the red zone too. So
He's not the only one that was drinking that Kool-Aid. I mean, we've done a lot of drafts since the NFL draft concluded, and Cook is going right there at the 1-2 turn. And I'm not for it either. I think he's going to be the most overdrafted player this year. I think that people are going to regret taking him so high because he does not profile as a 3-down back. He's more of a pass catching back. I think Singletary and Cook are going to share time. I think Zach Moss is probably toast, and he'll be there, but he's probably going to be like a special teamer, a guy that's in there if there's an injury. So
spicy meatball, the NAO draft round 1. Cook is going to be the 22 Rager. Everyone's going to be like,
ooh.
oh man, they took Cook before X, Y, and Z.
was Rager drafted at 9, or am I thinking of Devontae Smith? One of them was drafted at 9.
No, different league, different draft.
Oh,
Rager was in 20.
that's what I mean.
Smith was in 21.
He was taken at
Rager.
9, though, wasn't he?
Rager.
Rager was a first rounder in probably most rookie drafts. He was around the same area, the 1-2 turn.
I was right. Rager was 109.
There you go.
I look at these damn things way too much.
I think he's this year's Michael Carter, because I think Michael Carter was going in a lot of first rounds last year, and we see what Breece Hall did to that draft capital. And I thought Michael Carter was overdrafted there. So I think James Cook is that guy this year. We'll see. Time will tell, but I don't think I don't think the writing on the wall is very pretty for FNP there.
Let's do this. Up for James Conner, down for not James Conner. I'm like, oh, you suck.
Well, you said James Conner, and I like James Conner.
Oh, damn it.
He did. I like James Conner too. I don't know if you knew that, but
Everyone
I like
knew what I
James
was talking about, though. Golly.
So, Geno Smith and James Conner went in the first round of the rookie draft this year. So,
I'm just killing it. Running over the tree, now I'm shooting it in the head. Awesome.
I think we better wrap up this first round, and before we say something else we might regret. So.
Oh, we still have a whole other pick. This might get crazy.
Well, before we get to the pick, we do have a trade for pick number 10. So this happened pre-draft, but it did involve pick number 10. So just the tips. They got pick number 10, Adam Thielen and Nico Collins. The Hoosier Daddies, wrap your mind around that one. The Hoosier Daddies, not the tough luck kid. The Hoosier Daddies got Marquis Brown and pick 17. So before we talk about that pick, let's talk about the trade.
So, are you happy about the Marquis trade in the NFL draft where he went to Arizona?
Well, I made the trade after that happened. So
okay, all right.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The timetable.
I would not have gone after Marquise Brown. Now I will say, when I was still trying to stay in the playoff hunt, I did make an offer for Marquise Brown last year because Ricky was selling, and that seemed like a guy that maybe I could flex in and get something done. He wouldn't sell him last year.
I don't think you're the only person that made an offer for Hollywood Brown last year.
Yeah. I think we were going for it there. Now, I've never been a big fan of Marquise Brown, especially because he was with Baltimore. That's a run first team. But when he got traded to Arizona, and I thought, man, maybe for the first time I'll have a good Kyler stack. I've got to go after this guy. So I immediately went after Marquis Brown. So, yeah, I wouldn't have gone after him. I've never been really crazy about him, but now that he's back with Kyler, then I think he's flex worthy and could win me some weeks. So that's my take before we go into the rest of it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going after the stack, that's a smart move to do. And then was it before or after the news about DeAndre Hopkins came out too?
It was before. It was before.
So that's you get at least 6 games, of nice, Hollywood Brown production, and now you can add in the player of Skye Moore, of who they drafted obviously there, and I think it's a nice even trade actually, and then you get the bonus of the stack, so
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah, and Humpty, he gets a guy that he likes in Nico Collins, and Adam Thielen's still good. I mean, he may be on the older side, but he is still a flex guy that you can put in and probably get anywhere between 10 and 14 points. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, we saw that he put him on the trade block immediately, but there was a graphic that came out yesterday. The top 3 receivers against press coverage, I think it was in the end zone or red zone or something like that. Thielen was top 3 in that metric.
Who was the other 2? Do you remember?
Devontae Adams, and I cannot remember the other one, but
Devontae Adams. If he's within 7 yards of the end zone, he's gonna slant in, and the ball's gonna get thrown to him. Everyone in the freaking NFL knows that, but they don't freaking guard against him.
Yeah, and I like Thielen. I was happy to have him as a flex, but he was worth to give it up to get that stack, and he might have a good one there. I still think he's got a little bit of ball left in him. He's older for dynasty, but I think he's got some football left in him. Nico Collins is someone that Humpty had expressed interest in before, and I was happy to keep him on my taxi squad, but that kind of put it over the top, to tell you the truth. If you going into our talks, I don't know if it would have happened without Nico, but when I put Nico into the mix, it was like, okay, that's a little more interesting now. I don't think he was so interested in Adam Thielen, but he was interested in Collins, and I think he's a good one. And so he gets into the first round, which he didn't have a first round pick, and he got a good young receiver, and he got a guy that he can put in the flex. Whether he trades him or not, if he can get something for him, fine. But if not, he's got a good flex guy. I got my stack, and I still got pick 17 out of it. So I like it. I liked it for both of us. And after the draft, the way it all worked out, I was happy with it. So I guess we'll go to the pick, unless you guys got anything more that you want to add in on the trade. I take that as a no. So pick number 10, Skye Moore. Oh, let me say just the tips. Pick Skye Moore, wide receiver, Kansas City.
Why is it that when I click on his name, he's already questionable?
Skye Moore is questionable?
Yeah.
I think he had a hamstring injury, didn't he?
He's got a hamstring already?
Isn't that what it was?
I did not know that.
Maybe. So my thoughts on Skye Moore is my gut screams don't do it, it's a trap, but my brain's like, but it's Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, and he's not going to be freaking Tyreek Hill. I've already said that earlier in the show, but if he can be a good wide receiver and become somebody that Patrick Mahomes can rely on, I mean, he could be really good. So I think it's like, if he busts, I wouldn't be shocked. If he booms, I wouldn't be shocked. It's kind of a weird area to be in for him.
I think at this point in the draft, basically the end of the first, I think Landon had a pretty good pick here. We talk about the stacks. I was a little interested in this. Watching how far he was going to fall. I'm not too surprised. He went here, but if he fell a little bit more, I probably would have poked around to see if anybody was interested. But actually, it's kind of
I mean,
funny.
you were poking around to get into the end of the first round.
I'm not gonna disclose my poking.
Oh, okay. Keep your poking to yourself. I get it. I get it.
But I actually kind of agree. I think he's a guy that I wouldn't be surprised no matter what happens. Really, I don't want to bring this juju into the world, but it's like we're all super excited about CEH last year. It's a whole new team. It's a whole new offense. But I think CEH just busted so bad that it bled into this year. Is what I'm getting at.
Golly!
You got too excited, so I had to.
Ah!
Yeah, I would hope that you didn't pay too much for CEH, and I don't think Landon made a smart pick here. I don't think he would have paid too much for CEH. So if we bring it back around to Landon, I think that's a good point there. That's a good point there. I think Sean's screen froze. Might have to do take 10 here, man.
Sorry, I was just having a mild stroke.
Oh man, yeah, I'll tell you that pick there. I looked down. I looked at the second round as you were talking about it there, Tank Top, and there's 8 guys I like better in the second round than Skye Moore. So, and it's not that
the
I'm.
whole second round.
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah, it's not an indictment on Skye Moore. It's just a little bit of hesitancy of him coming from a small school and what he can do. So if he can do, if he can become a favorite target of Mahomes, it's going to be a great pick for Landon there. I'm sorry, just the tips. Let's go by their name. Just the tips. If he does anything like Hill, he's going to be a good pick there. But I'm really worried about the bust factor there. I would have taken him a lot later in the second round. There's a lot of guys I like ahead of him.
It is.
Well,
We'll talk about we'll get to the second, obviously, at some point here, but not to look too far into it. It did start a wide receiver run. This was the first of 4 wide receivers, off the board. So, going into next year and, 2 seasons after that, it'll be interesting to see, how a run like this actually plays out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Humpty knew what he was doing, and he didn't have a pick in the second round. And if he really wanted Skye Moore, he was going to go and get him, And he gave up a guy that he has no idea what's going to happen with Hollywood Brown, because Arizona is not good with wide receivers. Like, obviously, Kirk is pretty good. He leaves Arizona and gets paid $1 billion practically and go play in Jacksonville. But obviously he's really good and just never did very well in Arizona. But Humpty must love Skye Moore because we all know Humpty makes decisions on that team.
Oh, you sure? I thought Mike had it right with Landon. I was trying to, give him credit for the 2 of them doing it, but I thought Mike maybe had it. Landon calling shots there.
I talked to Landon a lot on draft day.
Yeah, yeah. You didn't talk to Humpty, did you? See, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see who wears the pants on just the tips.
Well, sports fans, just talking about the tips. Tip this off to next week. This is that was the first round. We went in the weeds, each pick, how it affected the league overall, how it affected the team. It was interesting to see. 3 owners had a lot of the first round, and we saw how people got drafted early, maybe even drafted even a little later, just because of where they were adding in. But that is the show, and if you know the show, you know the ending. Ian, you suck.